Is it worth declining the ITA? Well, in some circumstances, it actually is, to avoid potential confusion or complications, so to say, right? Let me take you through a live example. So, one lady has had her spouse as accompanying in the previous two express entry profiles. Obviously, the score were not matching up, etc., etc., and the couple has a Canadian-born child. Now, for the third time, she kept her husband as non-accompanying for a reason that unfortunately does not make sense. IRCC sent a procedural fairness letter, initially an additional document request that was really not responded well, and then a very stern procedural fairness letter specifically saying that, in the previous two profiles, you have had your husband accompanying, you have a Canadian born child. And now the reason that you are citing for your husband to go back, and by the way, your husband is still here inside Canada on a visitor record, is not making sense. Respond. Okay. Practically speaking, what will you really respond? So, in this kind of a situation, when your ties to Canada and the previous sort of complications can potentially lead you to a situation where you might even face a ban from Canada, it would have been worthwhile to have declined the ITA, have the husband as accompanying, and continue with the profile. So, long story short, if your situation demands that you have to decline the ITA, keeping in mind the fact that IRCC is scrutinizing the profiles extremely critically these days, yes, decline your ITA, because one thing is not to be a permanent resident of Canada. It's altogether a different element if you potentially face a ban from Canada. And by the way, those that are thinking to go for an appeal, etc., etc., as a foreign national, you do not have any appeal on your permanent residency rejection or an inadmissibility decision. All you have is a judicial review, wherein you have to prove that the officer has made an error either in the administration of the act or administration of the fact, or both administration of act and fact. And in most of the situations, the officers have actually not made an error. So it's very difficult to get a leave from the Federal Court of Canada for a judicial review. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but these are the fundamentals of a judicial review. So, in short, if your situation demands, and if you feel that, well, you will not be able to make a proper explanation, should IRCC send you a procedural fairness letter or an additional document request or both, it may be worthwhile to not to accept the ITA and have the spouse as accompanying, or maybe declare your, or not to declare your foreign work experience if that is causing the problem, and then continue with it. If professional assistance is required, which I think it is in this kind of a critical situation, more than welcome to hop into the website novonation.ca, book a relevant session. I will be happy to guide you in the right direction.